It's very obvious, where the cameras are. The Hard Knocks crew wears special shirts.
Ooh.
So that they're identified so that they can be out on the field and all over the place. There's no restrictions to where they go. So I am definitely positioning myself on the practice field in the angle of the cameras.
Look at you.
Yeah.
I think you're going to make it at some point. You're there for the next, till August 11th?
Yeah, till after the first preseason game. So, yeah, August 11th. I'm staying here till, and every day that will be my mission at practice. Even today, getting a snippy response from one of the coaches. So
okay.
We'll see if that makes it.
All right. Let us inside. Who got snippy?
It was a question that I guess I could have phrased a little bit differently, but I was asking a question about the punting competition. And I just said, they're not really thrilled with either of the punter necessarily. Johnny Townsend was one of the worst punters in the league last year, despite being a fifth round pick. And I just said, do you believe your punter is on the roster? And the answer was, yeah, I think we're going to have a punter.
Did you fire back? Yeah, that's not what I meant. Or are you actually trying to are you trying to soft step your way in on this Raiders relationship and not start fighting people right away?
No, I did snap back. And I eventually got the answer. They said, we hope that one of them emerges. And if not, I don't have a crystal ball to see who might be, the punter in the future. But I got the answer I wanted eventually. It took a minute.
Good start. Most coaches and power brokers in sports don't like you, so you're off to an excellent start.
A rousing debut.
Antonio Brown, feet. What's the problem?
I heard it compared to, sorry, I know you don't watch the show, Steve, but on The Office when Michael Scott stepped on the George Foreman grill. It looks similar. Antonio Brown's feet look disgusting. I was very uncomfortable seeing that photo that he posted on Instagram, a lot of blisters and crackling. But he did not practice today, I believe, because of the feet, undisclosed injury. So I'm on the assumption that it was the feet after he practiced one time on Tuesday, couldn't go today. But we did get a little bit of potential Antonio Brown news, I suppose, that there was a question of whether they plan to use him on the punt return. And I thought the immediate answer would be absolutely not. But what we heard was, you know what, there might be some packages, there might be some situations where we do use Antonio Brown on the punt return. They expect him to at least field some punts the next time he participates in practice and try to get some work in. And whether they use that as, a decoy, whether they use him occasionally as like a second punt returner just to kind of run some trick plays or throw the punt team off, I expect at some point he will at least be out on the field on special teams. How much he's used, we'll see. But the issue with the Raiders, while Antonio Brown was a very good punt returner, he has 4 career touchdowns, had 9.5 for his career. I think around 13 yards of return in 2013, his best year. The Raiders do have one of the best return men in the NFL, Dwayne Harrison. I think he's pretty good at kickoff returns, but punt returns last year he tied for first in the NFL. So I don't know how much they'll need Antonio Brown back there.
Well, it sounds like quote of the day at camp, and Adam Hill's on the road with the paper. Napa, Raiders camp. Sounds like the quote of the day was the answer you got, which was, yeah, we'll have a punter. But according to Paul Gutierrez, it was just simply 13, 13, 13. So I guess they were yelling 13 a lot at the defensive line because they wanted to reinforce the fact that the sack numbers last year were not good.
Yeah, and it's I'm pretty sure every reporter that was there today is writing a feature about the number 13. And as you mentioned, it's the number of sacks they had last year. They were abysmal on the pass rush. And I got to tell you, it didn't look much better today. There were some signs. Arden Key got through a couple times, and not exactly they weren't going live necessarily, but he made some nice moves. And he said he's much stronger, and that he actually said he's more of a finesse rusher, but his strength now that he has built up is going to enable him to use his finesse more because he can push some guys around. They can respect his strength, and then he could go for his more finesse moves. So they're working. They're trying to get better on the line. They're trying to get more pressure, but it is certainly a theme. John Gruden yelling at the defensive line over and over again, 13, every time he wants more effort from them to try to remind them. And actually, Arden Key said, you know what? We get it. We know what the number 13 is. We don't have to yell it all the time. We're reminded. We know what we did last year. We know it needs to get better. And he thinks it's going to get better. And certainly they have a lot of guys that were in their first year last year. Could get better. Cleveland Farrell his arrival and, potentially starting on one side of the line will help generate some pass rush. But, those guys know, particularly, Arden Key is a big factor in that, and he was disappointing last year, only had the one sack, and he thinks he'll be better. He thinks he'll put up better numbers, and part of that is that he won't have to play as much. He was having to play a lot of downs last year defensively. They see him more as a situational pass rusher, and if he can get on the field for less plays and only get in situations where he rushes the passer, I think that'll be beneficial to him to get to the quarterback more often.
Saw a couple stories today about Hard Knocks. We just mentioned Hard Knocks, but that Hard Knocks will not feature Vegas very much. Is that something you heard?
Well, that's what I expect. I think it's out of respect to Oakland, for one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly we know Vegas is the big story and it's hanging out there, but this is the last year in Oakland, and I think that'll be the focus of everybody kind of, celebrating that final season in Oakland. But I think the bigger Hard Knocks thing to me, and I don't know if you saw the clips, they leak out clips a little bit every day. The focus on Luke Wilson's tiny calves is amazing to me.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that as a calf guy.
Yeah, he's got no calves, and he's very self-conscious about it. And there's a clip today that's out there circulating on social media of him complaining to teammates like, I think Gruden's calling out my calves. I'm very self-conscious about it.
Ah, that's why we love Hard Knocks. Right there. Now, I think, and Adam Hill's on the road, Napa Raiders camp, I think we should be getting Vegas stuff, but I understand. Did you get the skinny on a Vic Tafer tweet? He said it's true. Derek Carr has bought a new home in Las Vegas. Now, he says when it's complete and he finally moves in, his neighbor will be Gruden. Do we know where it's at? And, clearly it's not complete. So what does that mean? Is it a reno, or is Derek Carr building something from the ground up in Vegas?
Yeah, there's a lot that we still have to get to. Carr's not available until, I believe, Saturday.
Come on, I got to wait Who's going to ask about his house? Let's go.
I will. Don't worry. I got it. I'm on it. We will get it. But this actually came from David Carr. It was the NFL Network's tour of the training camps. They were at Raiders camp the other day before I got here, and he just made a kind of a comment on the air. It's because there was some addressing of the relationship between Derek Carr and Gruden, and David Carr said, well, it's not that bad, and let's not overblow it. Derek just bought a house next to Gruden's, and it was during that he said it's not finished yet. Still some finishing touches to put on the house, but when it's complete, he'll move in, and they'll be next door neighbors. And he even made the joke that they're going to carpool next year to the facility.
Well, it's a good thing. You can follow up on the carpool thing. Definitely ask them what they think about HOV lanes.
That was the first thing I thought of, Steve, and I will be all over that.
And that will absolutely get another response from these Raider folks. They'll look at you like you have two heads because they won't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm already there.
Yeah.
It's after today. It's already happening. Especially because not only did I anger the special teams coach with that question, but I also requested interviews with both punters, and they were just staring at me.